Hello friends and welcome back to the channel. Today we've got a special video. I visited one of my subscribers, Adrian, 1 week ago and checked out his fish room with 4 amazing tanks. One natural Blackwater Paludarium setup with botanicals, a Betta Fish and many Guppies. 2 breeding tanks with amazing shrimps, Amano and Neocaridina shrimps. 1 Guppy tank with beautiful blue Guppy Fish and much more. I also brought him some of my beautiful Guppies. Make sure to watch today's video until the end because I have a major channel update for all of you guys. So the first aquascape that Adrian showed me was his Paludarium Blackwater tank. It's such an interesting mixture of 2 different or 3 different ecosystems, I would say, and we're going to explore it now together. First, we have this canopy that forms one part of this huge overall ecosystem, and you can directly tell that it's such a healthy ecosystem that Adrian built here. The plants are super big, like they are super healthy. Of course, some of them are burned by the direct sunlight because these plants are probably more kind of plants that live in the shade, but overall they look super healthy. Look here, there's even some flowers and massive monstera plants. I don't know the exact species of these plants. Adrian told me, but I forgot them by now. Maybe one of you can write it in the comments. And when we go one or 2 floors further down, you can see the beautiful ecosystem that he built here. Of course, the water is black or orange. That was intended when Adrian set up the tank, because he added lots of botanicals. He just took leaves from his garden and put them in there, and the fish and shrimps and snails, how to say, they eat on them, or they also use the tannins that are released by these leaves into the water to be more healthy, so to say. Because remember, most of these species are from the tropical rainforests, and there it's quite normal that leaves fall into the water and release their tannins. Also, he put some seeds in there, and the snails really seem to appreciate that. Like, you can see this Ramshorn snail, and the snail is just eating whatever biofilm is forming on these seeds, and it's just a way to increase the surface where biofilm can form and where algae can form. He on purpose did not put any other plants in there. I think plants would grow in there, although there's not a lot of sunlight or light coming to the water. He only put duckweed in there, and I think that's an interesting choice, but it's relatively natural, I would say. And what's really beautiful in this setup are the Guppies, especially the male Guppies. They look absolutely stunning, I think. And unfortunately, you can't really see their colors super well in the shade, and also because there's a thick thick layer of biofilm on the front glass. I mean, I always like to take that away. Adrian doesn't. I think it's okay. For the fish, it's actually beneficial for the fish and the snails because they can munch on it. But for the view, it's a little disturbing. But yeah, you can see them when I zoom in on them. Wow, these are some of the most beautiful guppy males I've ever seen. They look so healthy, and especially the tail of this one that is just swimming in front here, absolutely beautiful. And also from the top view, their colors come out. And now the king of this tank is this female Betta. It's a Siamese Betta fish. At least Adrian told me it's a Siamese Betta fish. I've never kept Bettas because I heard that they are very aggressive, but according to Adrian, they do just fine in his tank with the Guppies, and actually they are a little bit like the police in this tank. So apparently the Guppies don't really stress each other that much, as long as the Betta is there, and and it's sort of like a larger predator that they have to hide from. I think that's quite an interesting role of such a Betta fish, and I didn't know that you could keep them together in such an easygoing way with your other fish. Like, this is more or less a community tank. Adrian also said that you could not put another Betta fish in there, especially not a male, because they seem to be very territorial, and also it's not like, it's not a huge scape, right? It's like maybe, I would say 30 liters, so what would that be, 15 gallons? So there's not that much space in there to put a lot of betta fish. It's all in all, it's an absolutely beautiful scape, and I tell you, it only gets better from here. So stay tuned, watch the video until the end, because we have 3 more scapes to go. And the next scape that we will explore is the one on the right hand side here. It's a beautiful, more black and green scape, I would say. It's a scape that Adrian uses to breed guppy fish and shrimps, and he put a eucalyptus root in there and like a small figure made of clay that he built himself. I think it's made of clay or of some other kind of stone that you can see here in the front middle section of this tank. Also, you can see his Ramshorn snails. Ramshorn snails are, I think, in each of Adrian's tanks, as well as bladder snails. And bladder snails are very common in Germany. They are a species of snails from the middle of Europe. And Ramshorn snails are quite common in the aquarium hobby. I don't have them at the moment, but Adrian was so kind and gave me some of them because I think they are not pests. You can see one of them in this close-up shot here on the left-hand side. I think they are absolutely beautiful. And I don't have any red snails yet in my fish tanks, so I'm really looking forward to putting them in one of my tanks very soon. So if we get a little closer to this tank here, you can see he has like at least 5 or 6 plant species in there. One is this pothos plant that is on the top of the scape that is growing out of it, and its roots sort of permeate through the tank and build one very important part of this ecosystem, because the roots, they serve as a hiding space for young guppy fish, but also for shrimplets, for young shrimps, because Adrian has a lot of Neocaridina shrimp in this scape here. And this is actually, it does look beautiful, and it serves a real biological purpose. Also, he has this floating crystal wart in the back of the tank, this plant that looks a little prehistoric, I would say. Now you can see it a little better. It has the same purpose in his setup. It has the same purpose like the roots that are all scattered throughout the tank. It's just a place where young, like guppy fry and shrimp fry or shrimplets can hide. And I must say the guppies in this tank look a little different than in the tank we had a look at previously. But also, they look very healthy. But he was going more for this like bluish or black-blue kind of color. And to me, also absolutely amazing guppies. And if you zoom in a little further, yeah, it looks more or less like a jungle. And I really appreciate this kind of natural-looking green style, or green and black style, just from a pure aesthetic point of view. Here you can see, again, it's like maybe 20 liters, so what would that be, like 3-4 gallon setup, but definitely for this small amount of fish, it's perfect. And right next to it, he has another setup, which has more this kind of colored and red theme. And here you can see so many different shrimps and shrimp colors. You have this Amano shrimp right in front. I have a way better shot of it in 1 or 2 minutes. And the Neocaridina shrimp. We have this beautiful yellow Neocaridina, and next to it a blue one. And they are just hanging out in the front, and also on the right hand side you can see already one of the small Neocaridina shrimplets. So Adrian explained to me that of course the Amano shrimp cannot reproduce in his tank, because just like zebra nerites, so snails, they cannot really reproduce in freshwater, but they really, like from a pure health point of view, they really do well in just freshwater. They just can't reproduce because they have to be put in salt water or brackish water to reproduce, so to say. And I really think it's definitely a beautiful shrimp, and for some reason it's burying the whole time. So for the whole time that we were in his fish room, this one shrimp on the right hand side was digging a hole, and I think it's just sifting through the soil, and I think it just does look beautiful. Like, And this really shows nicely why you should put shrimps in your fish tank and snails. You can see the Ramshorn snail in the back here. It's, or both of them are cleaning the soil from the top, and this amano shrimp is just sifting through the whole soil and cleaning it like a little, how to say, like a little vacuum cleaner basically. And this is really amazing. So they really help you with keeping your tank clean. On the right hand side you have now really nice view of his cryptocorynes and his hygrophillas that he has in his tank, and also the Dragonstone. So Adrian was really proud of his Dragonstone that he put here in the middle, and I also really must say I like it. You can see the Frogbite roots coming from the top here. So in this tank he also has a lot of floating plants, and the Dragonstone really is like the centerpiece of this tank and creates this red and I would say relaxing kind of theme for this whole tank. And also I really like Dragonstone because it always reminds me of House of the Dragon, which is one of the best HBO series ever released, and I think it's even better than Game of Thrones. If you think otherwise, please fight me in the comments. But I'm getting distracted here. So you can see again all of the Neocaridina shrimps, and I never kept yellow Neocaridinas. And maybe in the future I will ask Adrian if he can give me some of them. And also the red guppies are beautiful here, and I think he really did a good job at selecting the colors here, because he has red Dragonstone, he has red yellow Guppy Fish or orange Guppy Fish, and he has also this small red-leafed plant here. I don't know what the name of the plant is, but maybe one of you knows. And he has both green and red Frogbite on top of the tank, as well as these cryptocorynes in the front section that are not as large as the cryptocoryne undulata that I have in my tank. So I think it's a really beautiful setup. And of course, I almost forgot the Ramshorn Snails again, because they also have this red-orange kind of style, and it really fits good together, I think, although it's such a small tank. Also, he has these blue Neocaridina shrimps, but they are not like the main species in this tank, I would say. But they are doing their job. And you can see one of them just munching on the biofilm that has formed on the Frogbite, which is this floating plant. And here another impression of the yellow shrimps, and they seem to be really reproducing super well. And you know that I just love Neocaridina shrimps, so just amazing. Here's one more close-up shot of all of the shrimps in this Dragonstone tank. Also, finally, the Amano shrimp. And now, before I show you this tank, on the side, I want to show you the top. And Adrian is already pouring in some tank water to acclimate the Guppy fish that I brought him. Because I did not only come here to have a fish room tour, but also I of course brought some of my own Guppy fish so that Adrian can put them in his little bit larger Guppy tank. So this here is a 60 liter, that means I would say roughly 15 to 20 gallon or US gallon Guppy tank. It's a community tank again, but the focus here is really Guppy fish. He also has some Tetras and some Neons, but I will focus on them later. And you can see his acclimation technique, or his water acclimation technique, is really nice actually. He's putting this back in the tank, and you can see my guppies checking out their new environment already. Maybe some of you know them. You can see in the back they look pretty different compared to Adrian's guppies. Adrian has more like this black, I would say unnatural, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but they are more like a product of breeding, I would say, while the guppies that I have are more like a naturalistic, less colorful looking breed, I would say. Also, half of my guppies originally were Endler guppies, and half of them were like typical guppies that can be bought in any fish store, and they interbred, and now this is like more natural looking, less colorful type, I would say. And they are already trying to recreate here in their bag, but before we release them, we have to acclimate them a little more. So Adrian, what he usually does is he puts the bag into his tank, and he has this nice thing here where he can just put in this little plastic thingy here, and he can with that fix the transport bag of the fish towards the tank, and this is perfect for acclimating new fish. I really love this, and I wonder why Juwel or Jewel did not put this in my tank. I think this should be in every fish tank. So he puts a little bit of water every now and then, like every 15 minutes maybe, and while the bag is hanging in the new tank, the fish can already acclimate to the new water temperatures. And you can see they are swimming in their bag, and the bag is on top of this of these cryptocorines here, cryptocorines and hygrophila corymbosas, I think. Adrian was so kind and gives them to me, so I can put them in my fish tanks at home. And you can also see the snails back there. Ramshorn snails again, eating on some kind of seed that Adrian put in there. The seeds apparently they didn't really grow, but the Ramshorn snails, they just like to feast on the biofilm of it. You can also see the Tetra back there, and of course the Guppies that are checking out their new Guppy mates, because of course Guppies are all about mating and breeding and getting as much Guppy babies into the next generation as possible, and they are already checking out their new potential mates here, which I think is always quite interesting. Most other fish are very shy at the beginning when you put them in the new tank, but wait until Adrian releases my Guppies to his tank. It's quite insane. Also, Adrian has quite impressive floating plants. He has duckweed, but also Amazon Frogbite. And I was wondering if this is a flower here, but it's actually not. These are new leaves, and this is their way to reproduce. And also, they form these shoots, or these offshoots, just like the Vallisneria australis gigantea plant from my larger fish tank. So they form these shoots, and they reproduce that way by cloning, basically, themselves. And this is really interesting, and I could talk Adrian into giving me some of them for my tank. And I also noted this plastic ring. So this is a plastic ring that Adrian just built himself from some tube he bought in the DIY store, so very cheap do-it-yourself kind of thing. And it's supposed to keep the duckweed and the floater plants out of a certain section so you can feed your fish. And we both talked about it for quite a long time, because this was something that did not exist like 15 years ago, 20 years ago when I started in the hobby, but now you see it all over the internet. And I think this is quite interesting, that some things just apparently work and then are distributed very, very fast all over the world in the hobby. So now we already approached the final step. So Adrian releases my Guppy fish into his tank, and just wait for 1 second to see how quickly my males try to fertilize his females, and vice versa, his males trying to fertilize my females. So now it's difficult to tell which Guppy belongs to which original group. Mine are I would say, a little less colorful, especially at the moment. And now here on the left hand side, this blue male from Adrian already tries to fertilize one of my females. And yeah, just Guppies doing what Guppies are doing, right? Now let's close the lid here and check out the Guppies a little closer. So I would say it's quite crowded now, this tank. I would not say it's overcrowded, because Adrian has a tremendous amount of plants in it, and I think they will grow even further. And you can see, like, already here you have these beautiful blue Guppies that I don't even have in my tank. And on the right side, this Guppy male with the beautiful tail is already fertilizing or trying to breed with my female. And yeah, they're doing super fine in their new escape. And also, one of my males tries to mate with Adrian's females. So they seem to get along pretty well. And I mean, if you meet a new group of humans, it's usually not going that fast, I would say. But for guppies, there's no wasting time. There's no like dating or anything. They just get right to it. The back here, also what I observed then later on were the two neons, blue neon tetras, I think, is what Adrian called them, or it's what their species is. Adrian bought them from an online fish. They are super colorful, very, very beautiful neons. They are more or less shy, I would say, and definitely beautiful animals. Also, you can see just the colorful guppy that I brought from my tank, the male on the right hand side, which it's always an eye catcher, I would say. And here, from another perspective, the super healthy guppy females that Adrian has, and one of my males trying to communicate with one of the females here. And yeah, I hope they will do fine in this new setup. Maybe Adrian could send or share a video in a few weeks or months with us, because I would be really interested in seeing how my guppy fish are doing and whether they are doing fine or not in their new scape. Thank you so much for watching this YouTube video all the way until the end. I really appreciated Adrian taking the time to show me his 4 fish tanks, and I really loved producing the video, editing the video, and thinking about other fish tanks than my own. I love my own fish tanks, but you know, there's so much more out there in the world, and I would really like to see this. I would really like to explore this. And for that, and this is what I promised at the beginning, I have something new for this channel planned. I would like to ask you to send me your aquarium footage. That means your aquarium pictures or videos in this type form. The link of the type form can be found in the description. You can upload your videos or especially also pictures that have a maximum file size of 10 megabytes. And I'm interested in anything. Freshwater, saltwater, paludariums, aquariums, terrariums, also interesting plants, anything that comes to your mind that has to do with natural aquariums or natural style ecosystems at your home, I'm interested in. And what I would like to do with it is then, I would like to collect the data, collect all of the stuff that you send me, select the good ones, and then reach out to you via email. So if you also provide me an email address, I can then contact you and ask for larger content pieces and create really videos, like short form videos, long form videos, but also posts for the community section of my channel about that. And my goal with that is to, first of all, learn about species that I don't have and ecosystem types that I don't have, so to get future inspiration, but also to show you guys what's there all around the world and to engage in a discussion in the comment sections. So if you would like that, please go ahead, fill out a type form that I provide in the description of this video, and maybe very soon your aquarium will be featured on Natural Aquarium.